Poor Magazine, Homefulness, Decolonize Academy is at the site of Move Africa. For listeners and viewers, it's interesting to note that they have built this development, as we would call it, which is like poor people housing here in the site of that, which is now condemned. And as we know, the trajectory of HUD and like planned messed up housing, that doesn't really surprise us. But anyway, this is the site of what, Noelle? Could you just say?
The massacre, one of the worst massacres in American history of 10 men, women, and children at this site, this very site. And then no police, fire, ATF. They dropped C4 explosives on this house and they let it burn down 62 homes in the neighborhood, and they had standing orders to let the fire burn. And they shot automatic weapons at the people who were trying to escape the house from the back of the house, and they were forced back into the burning flames, and they found bodies inside that had bullet holes in them, and so they were trying to flee. The only survivors were Ramona Africa, who suffered third-degree burns over half her body, and Birdie Africa, who was a young person. So 2 survivors.
Any thoughts, Leroy?
God, just the authors of the Negroes with guns. Are they still involved in Philadelphia?
The officials?
You know, the authors of the book on Negroes with guns.
Oh, you know, I know those 2 folks, and I don't know. I've lived in Philadelphia for 6 years, and so my partner is from Philadelphia and from Frankfurt, and that's why we moved back to be next to our older relatives and cousins. But I spent a long time in San Francisco. So.
Lori, did you have any thoughts? Or
Well, I wanted to ask a question.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to ask, culturally, nowadays especially, from what I know of it, Philadelphia is one of the, I don't know how you'd say it, one of the strongest, one of the kind of most vibrant cities for like black radical women especially, that I know in the country, you know, or on Facebook. I don't know. Well, I know a lot of women who come from here, who come through here, who are like black women and very, very, very radical. Do you think that that some of that has to do with the fact of the massacre here that happened here? I mean, because it was a massacre. You know.
It may be in response to it. It may be in spite of it. It might be just a recognition of this seems like a central point. Philadelphia has all the rhetoric of America and all of the incredible, like Du Bois called it up south. Like it's very segregated, incredibly racist. We have some of the most draconian conditions here. We have some of the most poverty. It's one of the most impoverished cities. It has the most juvenile lifers in the country. It has 500 in Pennsylvania and 300 in Philadelphia, and there are only 1,500. Mm-hmm. So our level of the way, maybe it's because there's resistance, that there's this jackboot mentality from the state, but that nexus is always operating. Mm-hmm. So does that create more resilient people, or people who are more radical, or people who are more conscious? It's hard to say because I see an enormous amount of oppression. Mm. So the level of incarceration, the level of poverty, the level of hunger is daunting, you know. So, and then the level there's no relief. So every level of it, every level of our system requires submission and lack of resistance. The reason they had to bomb Move was because they were insistent on telling the truth. They would not allow the state to lie to them. They would not educate their children in
Thank
their
you.
schools. They at no point submitted to what the colonizer wanted. And they still exist. They are vibrant. They are here. They are everywhere. I mean, MOVE is proliferating. So MOVE has a community here, and they're very organized and they're very active. There's a conference coming up next weekend. But so I don't know. I don't really know the answer to your question specifically, though there are a lot of very radical people here. The level of repression is palpable. It is in San Francisco, too.
Right,
So
of course.
They're not polite here, though.
Do you have any
Sometimes
questions,
they're
girl,
polite.
ladies?
So what?
You have any questions that you wanna ask?
Today?
They're organizing. So they organize. They have a community, their family. They raise their children. They have like 5 or 6 houses throughout the city. They now don't live in one place. They live in 4 or 5 different major houses. They have a lot of children, and they organize. So
Do they-
Ramona's organizing. Pam Africa's organizing.
Do they still have their school or
They do homeschooling.
they don't?
What did you say again?
They do homeschooling, and they organize.
Just
So
like
they're-
Decolonize Academy.
Yeah. So their kids are wonderful and beautiful, and they have 9 people still in prison from the 1978 confrontation, doing 30 to 100 years. So
I got it. Any other last comments? We good?
Yeah, I got a question. Looking at this cemetery for housing, is the folks going to get any kind of reparations for this? I mean, United States did a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch. I mean, is it like kind of like harmfulness? Is the people going to be able to rebuild on something? I know that's one of them questions. I ain't trying to pacify it though, but no, seriously, people need to be reparated for the massacres and stuff. Just like they did with the Jewish massacre and all that, they reparated those folks and all that. Why come African folks can't get it too?
That's real. That's real. Francis, any thoughts? I know that we're trying to build homefulness in the same way, in the same dream. Yeah, Tiva?
Comment. You know what's funny about this place is that out of all of the empty lots and the garages and all of the empty places in Oakland, the one that they chose to rebuild on, however crummy the contractor, was this one, and I'm wondering why. Maybe you won't be able to answer that question, but I just got it in my
I
head.
think there was outrage. So the people who were here, who were next to MOVE, there was a MOVE house here, but there were 61 other families that were burnt out that night, and they were outraged. And they demanded that the city and redevelopment come in and rebuild.
Mm.
And
That
what
was
they ended up getting.
that was their reparations.
And then they were paid when they complained so much because the housing was so substandard. When they moved, they got paid to move. 16 families stayed, 36 moved after the redevelopment. So that was just another. So they say they've been dealing with this issue for 30 years now because it just goes on and on and on, even though.
I have a question. You said that you just visited Mumia. You know, how is he doing? And because of his health, does he have a new insight or a heightened around disability, age, and race?
So it was very interesting. When Mumia went to the place he was at, like he got moved from death row where he was isolated and was only around a few people and in a very small pod, and he could only walk a few steps each way. He never saw more than 1 or 2 people. When he went into general population, he was in shock. He kept calling me and saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. There are people in walkers. There are people that should not be here. There are people, I have to help people to get to the lunchroom. He just was really, had never seen people older than himself. He was one of the oldest people on death row. He only saw younger people and mobile people. And when he got there, he just hadn't been around people in wheelchairs. And he's a very caring guy. And so he really has these feelings. Then, when he got very, very ill, he spent a year in the infirmary. And the infirmary is the place where the prison sends people to die, and it's in isolation.